Outside takes a look at key issues affecting St. Vincent and the Grenadines and gives a global perspective on how these issues are viewed. Host Brayton Horn will examine a variety of topics to enlighten, stimulate debate, and explore solutions. Hear the facts, hear the real-life stories, hear a view from the outside. Join Brayton Horn at 7:30 a.m. every Saturday on Nice Radio for A View from the Outside.
This society need a spectacle. It might help us to see some evil. This society need a spectacle.
Good morning, Randy B. How are you this morning?
Doing great. Got a good feeling. Had a good week so far.
Yes.
Doing good.
Good, and the feeling is coming over in the music that you're playing. So
living
I'm enjoying it.
living in love, yeah.
I noticed. I wondered whether Cupid visited you last night or something.
No, it's just that a great feeling. When you get a good feeling, it comes out.
That is good, Randy. It's always good to go with that, you know. Well, in London this morning, Randy, it's mostly cloudy, and the temperature is slightly cooler than last week. It is 20 degrees Celsius, which is about 68 degrees Fahrenheit. On a view from the outside this week, we look at the issue of integrity, with the view being that in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, integrity appears to have taken on a whole new meaning, and this is especially so for those who occupy the corridors of power. The Cambridge Dictionary defines integrity as the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles that you refuse to change. Looking at that definition closely and applying it across the board, can you say that those who occupy the corridors of power in St. Vincent and the Grenadines display integrity? You will remember that the phrase integrity legislation became a household phrase during the time when the Unity Labour Party was courting the electorates of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. They made the grandiose promise to introduce integrity legislation within the first 100 days of forming government in 2001. They even said that they had a draft legislation just waiting to be implemented. Broadly speaking, integrity legislation is where you have a law introduced in Parliament primarily to make politicians and, to a certain extent, members of their families and other public servants accountable. It is introduced with the aim of tackling and reducing corruption and to preserve the good name of the country. This is done so that you, the electorate, can monitor the behavior of your politicians. If you see them accumulating unimaginable wealth, then the legislation would give you the right to demand how that wealth was acquired and hold them accountable. With integrity legislation, you can hold your Prime Minister or any other member of Parliament accountable if and when they breach the rules which they pledge to uphold. You can demand that they resign altogether or step aside if there are allegations of impropriety, whether in their public life or public life. For example, allegations of rape or bringing their office into disrepute in some other way. Well, since that grandiose promise was made in 2001, it is now more than 100 days since that promise. Yes, more than 5,500 days. And up to now, there is no integrity legislation. So looking at that, can you say that there is integrity shown by those who occupy the corridors of power? Quite recently, Dr. Gonsalves, who heads the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, attempted to give an explanation as to why, up to now, integrity legislation has not been introduced after it was promised over 15 years ago. In doing so, he appeared to blame the reluctance of prominent secretaries and their businessman husband and others for not having done so. Yes, he ascribed blame to any and everyone else apart from the politicians themselves. But the question has to be asked, what is the real reason why there has been why there has not been the same rush as there was with the Cybercrime Act to implement integrity legislation, to set the standards which they must uphold. So, on that evidence, can you say that those who occupied power in St. Vincent and the Grenadines acted with integrity? Can you say that they possess the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles that they refuse to change? Let's look at a few more examples. Can you say that those who occupy the corridors of power in St. Vincent and the Grenadines acted with integrity when they refused and continue to refuse to account for an attempted transaction of $1 million in cash at the then National Commercial Bank? And you would remember well, of course, that the bank collapsed sometime after that. Can you say that they acted with integrity when they stated in Parliament that upon completion of the Argyle International Airport, the country of St. Vincent and the Grenadines will have no debt? Can you say that they acted with integrity when they refuse and continue to refuse to make public the accounts in relation to the Argyle International Airport? Can you say that they acted or continue to act with integrity when they still have not paid many of the people for their land which they acquired to construct the Argyle International Airport? Can you say that they acted with integrity when they announced to you several dates for the opening of the Argyle International Airport, perhaps knowing that those dates were unrealistic? Can you say that they acted with integrity when they promised several investigations, including an investigation into the conduct of the Deputy Consul General of New York, who they said was involved in activities outside the scope of his employment and inimical to the interests of the Consulate General and the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines? And to date, they have said nothing in relation to that investigation which they promised. Just remember, that was in February 2014. You may also remember, too, that following that incident, there was a rush to amend the Passport Act to prevent the prosecution of those involved in the selling of passports. Can you say that they acted with integrity in their dealings with you? If you cannot answer yes to any of those questions, and much more which can be asked, then it is clear that the time has come for you to demand better and for you to demand more from those who occupy the powers, the corridors of power in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. They must adhere to standards which our young people can aspire to. You must hold them accountable. Those who hold others accountable must themselves be accountable. I repeat that. Those who hold others accountable must themselves be accountable. Those were the words of Keith Vaz, MP, here in the United Kingdom, as he resigned over allegations of impropriety as the chair of he resigned as the chair of the Home Affairs Select Committee. And he resigned from his post after his behavior of impropriety in his public life was recorded and revealed to the public. So in countries where there are standards, in countries where democracy must be upheld, those are the kinds of things which happen. Those who hold others accountable must themselves be accountable. It will serve us well to remember the words of Dwight D. Eisenhower, the 34th President of the United States of America, who said, and I quote him, "The supreme quality of leadership is unquestionably integrity. Without it, no real success is possible, no matter whether it is on a section gang, a football field, in an army, or in an office," unquote. So those who hold others to account must themselves be made accountable. Until next week, Randy, this is Brayton Horn with A View from the Outside, and reminding our listeners to send their feedback as usual to aviewfromtheoutside@hotmail.com. That's aviewfromtheoutside@hotmail.com.
As usual.
Continue to play the good music, Randy. Have a good weekend.
Thank you, Britton. You and the family enjoy.
Thank you very much.